After transmigrating here, I spent 20 years stepping into the Immortal realm. But because the system mission still wasn't complete, I couldn't ascend to the Immortal world. When I returned to the sect, after spending 3 years outside doing missions, my little junior brother falsely accused me of murdering eldest senior brother and stealing the sect's sacred treasure. If I couldn't prove my innocence, I would be thrown into an ancient formation and tortured for all eternity, never to reincarnate. Faced with my beautiful master's blatant favoritism and the fury of the entire sect, I publicly tortured their beloved green tea little junior brother to death. Fuck. Hess, just a two-faced bitch. Does he really think has some male lead from a female-oriented novel? My master mobilized the entire sect to wage war against me. If that's the case, then this sect doesn't need to exist anymore. At this moment, the judgment hall was already packed so tightly that not even water could pass through. Second, senior brother, you spent years wandering outside the sect. Eldest senior brother kindly brought me out to search for you. Fine, if you didn't come back, but how could you ruthlessly murder eldest senior brother and steal the sect treasure? The heaven-defying Pearl. My little junior brother in green robes pointed at me and shouted in accusation. Even my little junior sister, Ji Chu, whom I had always pampered the most, stood against me. Second, senior brother, I never thought you were this kind of person. I really must have been blind to be close to you back then. Why don't you hurry up and kneel down to confess? That way, Master can at least leave your corpse whole. The other senior and junior brothers and sisters all joined in, too. Lin John, eldest senior brother, was always good to you. Who would have thought your heart was this vicious? Exactly. The heaven-defying pearl was the supreme treasure eldest senior brother's father, the former sect master, left him. It speeds up cultivation. Second, senior brother must have coveted it for a long time before making his move. Eldest senior brother always treated others with humility and had the kindest heart. How could you possibly bring yourself to kill him? Master Yi Binghuang's face was as cold as frost as she immediately pressed the charge. Vile disciple, kneel at once. You murdered this venerable's chief disciple and stole the sect's sacred treasure. Zhao Xuan saw you with his own eyes. What more do you have to say? Little junior brother Zhao Xuan dropped to his knees, crying and sniffling. Master, poor eldest senior brother was blessed with heaven-defying talent. Yet he was ambushed and killed by second senior brother. If I hadn't run fast enough, I wouldn't have escaped his hands either. Please seek justice for eldest senior brother. Master, my face remained calm as I coldly looked at my little junior brother. Zhao Xuan, you say I killed eldest senior brother. Do you have any evidence? Zhao Xuan froze for a second, then cried even harder. I saw with my own eyes that you killed eldest senior brother. Poor eldest senior brother didn't die to the demon race, but to your hands. I know, am weak, but today I still have to seek justice for eldest senior brother. Little junior sister pulled Zhao Xuan, who was crying so hard he could barely breathe, into her arms and raised her head to glare at me with venom in her eyes. Second, senior brother, you not only killed eldest senior brother, you even wanted to make a move against little junior brother. You're utterly vicious. You must pay with your life. I only want justice for eldest senior brother and little junior brother. If you confess, I'll beg master to leave your corpse whole. I stared at little junior sister Ju Chu Shu in disbelief, as if I were seeing her for the first time. Back then, she was the first little junior sister I ever brought back from the mountain. She had been fleeing disaster and got separated from her family. When I found her, she was already starving and barely breathing. If she hadn't met me, she would have either starved to death or been dragged off by wild beasts. I pitied her and brought her back to the sect. At the time, Master saw that her spiritual roots were mixed and her cultivation talent was poor, so she refused to keep her. It was only because I knelt and begged again and again that she was allowed to stay. From childhood until now, junior sister practically revolved around me and stayed close, only to me. Only after little junior brother arrived did she gradually drift away from me. 3 years ago, when little junior sister was abducted by the holy son of Hequan sect, it was I who charged into Hehuan sect alone and brought her back unharmed. And now, she was stabbing me in the back too. Master Yi Binghuang's face was full of frost. Lin Zhan, are you truly going to remain stubborn and unrepentant? Lying in little junior sister's arms, Zhao Xuan shot me an incomparably smug look. I coldly looked toward Master, my expression grave. Master, are you really going to convict me based on Zhao Xuan's words alone? This Junlan Sword Sect was also the place where I grew up after transmigrating into this world. I did have some feelings for it. Even at this moment, I still wanted to give this sect one last chance. Master Yi Binghuang had been stuck at the Nascent Soul Realm for years, without making any progress. It was only because I risked my life entering the depths of Hongmeng Forest and finding the Divine Transformation Immortal Herb that she managed to break through into the Divine Transformation realm. The hesitation on Master's face only lasted for an instant before it returned to its coldness. Lin Zhan, it is only because I watched you grow up that I am giving you a chance to admit your fault. When Zhao Xuan first came to Junlan Sword Sect, you pushed him off a cliff and nearly killed him. I thought you would change for the better. I never imagined you were simply born vicious. My heart turned ice-cold. Back when little junior brother had just entered the sect, he accused me before Master, saying I had pushed him off a cliff. Master didn't scold me with even a single word back then. She only warned little junior brother never to bring the matter up again. I had thought Master believed me. I never imagined that deep down she had never trusted me, even a little. Little junior sister looked at me with tears in her eyes. Second, senior brother. Little junior brother is so kind. How could you treat him like this? If he hadn't run fast enough, he probably would have fallen to your hands too. Right. The other fellow disciples all shouted in anger too. Second, senior brother. In the entire sect, only your aptitude can rival eldest senior brothers. Did you think killing him in an ambush would let you become the next sect master? Second, senior brother is admitting this really that hard. I believe eldest senior brother cannot have died in vain. I beg the sect to seek justice for eldest senior brother and little junior brother. All the disciples of the sect shouted in unison. We beg the sect to seek justice for eldest senior brother and little junior brother. Their voices shook the heavens and rang through the clouds. When I transmigrated into this book, the system had already told me that this world's protagonist was little junior brother Zhao Xuan. I hadn't thought much of it then, but seeing this scene now, it was a proper protagonist halo. Junlan Sword Sect was one of the top sects in this world. Other than me and eldest senior brother, Zhao Xuan had the best talent in the whole sect. If his one stone two birds scheme succeeded, the entire sect's resources would tilt toward him, who could still block his path of growth. Zhao Xuan knelt on the ground as tears fell from his eyes in huge drops. Master, it's all my fault. Second, senior brother never liked me from the beginning. It must be because I got too close to eldest senior brother. That second senior brother couldn't tolerate him. Master, don't blame second senior brother. Leave the sect right now and stop getting in his way. Master could no longer remain calm and was just about to attack me, but I was faster. I flashed in front of Zhao Xuan, grabbed him by the neck, hauled him up, and slapped him several times across the face. The crisp sound of the slaps echoed through the hall. His face instantly swelled up like a pig's head. Since they wanted to play, then I'd play with these blind, empty-hearted fools properly. After I was done slapping him, I threw Zhao Xuan to the ground like a dead dog and stepped down, crushing his third leg. The scream Zhao Xuan let out was truly earth-shaking and ghost-weeping. It had all happened so suddenly that everyone was stunned. Vile disciple, you want to silence him by murder. Master cried out in panic. The frost ice holy sword shot toward me in an instant, but I laughed loudly and dodged it with ease. Little junior sister hurriedly helped up Zhao Xuan, who had an utterly despairing expression, and took out a supreme-grade spirit pill for him to swallow. Second, senior brother, you really are vicious. If you want to kill little junior brother today, then you'll have to step over my corpse first. Yi Binghuang also hurried over to check Zhao Xuan's injury, her eyes full of heartache and tears. The law enforcement hall elder, who had remained silent until now, stepped forward. Sect master, the truth is already clear. Lin Zhan murdered a fellow disciple and stole a treasure. And now, before everyone's eyes, he has tried to silence a witness by murder. His crimes are beyond redemption. This old one proposes he be imprisoned in the ancient formation and tortured for all eternity, never to be reborn. Little junior sister, Redade, immediately echoed him. Master, please, uphold justice. Please, Master, uphold justice. From inside and outside the great hall came the cries of tens of thousands of sect disciples. The sound surged like a vast wave and echoed through the heavens. Suddenly, my hair whipped wildly in the air as I threw my head back and laughed. The moment Master heard that laugh, she actually felt a flicker of panic. I had returned after 3 years of travel, and now even she could no longer see through my cultivation. What are you laughing at? I swept a scornful glance across everyone. Of course, I'm laughing at all of you, blind and empty-hearted, laughing at how you don't know the height of the heavens and the depth of the earth. A bunch of wastes. The law enforcement hall elder flew into a rage. Lin Zhan, what audacity! You dare insult Junlan Sword Sect! Law enforcement disciples, where are you? Awaiting the elder's orders. At once, 100 law enforcement disciples stepped forward. Every single one of them was a Golden Core expert, and many had already reached peak Golden Core. With such battle power, even if I had broken through to early Nascent Soul, I should have died on the spot. Kill this thief! For me! The moment he gave the order, more than 100 Golden Core experts rushed at me to kill. I burst out laughing, my eyes full of boundless mockery. Good, good, good. A bunch of waste dares make a move against me too. I merely sent out a casual palm strike, and those 100+ Golden Core experts instantly burst into clouds of blood, body and soul destroyed. The whole place went deathly silent. Everyone was stunned. The law enforcement hall elder cried out in terror. You're a divine transformation cultivator. The law enforcement hall elder himself was at Nascent Soul. He knew perfectly well he could never slap 100 Golden Core experts into bloody mist in a single strike. I merely stretched out one hand toward him, and his neck flew straight into my palm. I narrowed my eyes and stared at him. Old thing, it was you who just gave the order to kill me. The shadow of death instantly wrapped around his heart, making even his soul tremble. But he still gritted his teeth and refused to admit fault. You murdered fellow disciples. You've already fallen into the demonic path. Today, you will die without question. Crack. I didn't hesitate in the slightest. I twisted and broke his neck. My utterly unrestrained manner shocked everyone beyond words. I swept my gaze around and felt only endless disappointment. My system had always been generous. Many supreme treasures that I had no use for, I had distributed among these junior brothers and sisters, other than the new disciples, who among everyone here had not benefited from my kindness. A whole pack of white-eyed wolves. Master Yi Binghuang's peerless face was full of fury. Vile disciple! Today, I shall clean my house! I let out a disdainful laugh. Boasting shamelessly. A mere ant at early divine transformation dares wag her tongue like this. All of you, withdraw from the hall at once. Yi Binghuang was enraged. Her frost ice holy sword came at me in an instant. The terrifying force of the divine transformation realm flung every disciple in the hall flying. They all scrambled to escape the hall. Master herself has taken action. Lin Zhan is doomed today. I never imagined Lin Zhan would be this vicious, even refusing to spare the law enforcement elder, deceiving his master and betraying his ancestors. He has clearly entered the demonic path. He deserves death. Run. Boom! The whole hall instantly erupted into an ice storm. Boundless cold spiritual power surged like a raging sea and shook violently. After a thunderous blast, the entire law enforcement hall collapsed, making the earth tremble and the mountains shake. The whole hall turned into a world of ice and snow, dazzling under the sunlight. But what no one had expected was this. I stood in midair, imposing and elegant, like an immortal descended to the mortal world, completely uninjured. Meanwhile, Master Yi Binghuang lay in the rubble, coughing up mouthful after mouthful of blood, her aura languishing, her face full of despair. At that moment, little junior sister hurried over to help her up, then turned toward me and shouted loudly, Lin Zhan, how dare you hurt Master so viciously? Without Master, how could there be the you of today? You've fallen into the demonic path, harmed your fellow disciples, betrayed your master and ancestors. Have you no old feelings, no sense of reason at all. I was so angry, I laughed. You all wanted my life based on Zhao Xuan's one-sided accusation and talked to me about old feelings, and you still expect me to care about old feelings. A bunch of fools, toyed around by Zhao Xuan in the palm of his hand. If I really wanted to kill eldest senior brother, would I have needed to ambush him? Even your master, a dignified divine transformation expert, couldn't block even one casual strike from me. If I truly made a move, how could Zhao Xuan possibly have escaped my hand? At those words, everyone turned in unison toward Zhao Xuan, demanding an explanation. Even Master, who had always doted on little junior brother, now looked at him with doubt. Zhao Xuan knelt there, tears pouring endlessly. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have survived. Second, senior brother should have split me in half with one palm too. Second, senior brother, just admit it already. When you killed eldest senior brother, back then, your strength wasn't this great. If you hadn't seized the sect's sacred treasure, the heaven-defying pearl, and cultivated some demonic art, how could Master have lost to you? The entire hall once again glared at me with fury, all of them wishing to tear me to pieces. Great demon! And still refusing to admit it. At only 18 years old, you defeated a divine transformation expert, if not by some crooked method. How could you possibly have done that? Exactly. What? Are you some once-in-a-thousands genius or something? Zhao Xuan's eyes were wet with tears. Second, senior brother, you slaughtered over 100 law enforcement hall disciples and killed the elder himself, and now you've gravely injured Master too. Even if you've entered the demonic path, if you had only apologized properly to Master, she surely would have forgiven you. How could you act like this? Hearing that, I pointed a finger at him, and one of Zhao Xuan's legs instantly exploded into a bloody mist. So fond of throwing mud around. Let's see how long you can keep that stubborn mouth of yours. You little green tea bitch, already at death's door, and you still dare talk. Who gave you the courage? Zhao Xuan rolled on the ground in agony, his soul nearly shattering. You're a transmigrator too. The protagonist. You're just the damned, vicious, male side character. I was stunned too. The system had only told me he was this world's protagonist. Turns out he was also a transmigrator. Fuck! Out of all things, why did a green tea bitch have to be the male lead? Good thing I developed faster than he did. If I transmigrated a few years later than him, I would have been the one getting abused. No one present understood what Zhao Xuan was saying, but seeing him in such a miserable state, all of them glared so hard, their eyes looked ready to split. Master, even while ignoring her own injuries, immediately threw herself in front of Zhao Xuan. All disciples of the sect, hear me. Form the Jew Immortal Sword Array and kill this thief. The 10,000 disciples of the sect moved in an instant. 10,000 swords flew from their scabbards and rose into the air, weaving into a radiant net of blades around me. An ancient, mysterious 8 trigrams pattern emerged across the ground, like it had crossed through time from the distant past. At the eyes of the yin-yang fish, 2 phantom, immortal swords shot into the sky. Sword intent surged straight into the clouds and shredded the white clouds apart. All the cultivators of the southern region looked up in shock at the sky. What? Junlan Sword Sect's Zhu Immortal Sword Array has been activated. Could it be a demonic invasion? Even if not demons, then there must be some terrifying enemy. Hurry and go take a look. In the cultivation world, crisis often goes hand in hand with opportunity, even if there were no opportunity at all. Merely observing a great battle would be of enormous benefit to any cultivator. Countless cultivators of the southern region all rushed toward Junlan Sword Sect. At this moment, above the sword net, the 2 massive Phantom Jew immortal swords flickered in and out of visibility. Their blades radiated overwhelming, killing intent, enough to distort space. Inside the array, the wind and clouds changed color, and the phantom swords hummed in unison. Wherever that sword intent passed, stones shattered and grass and wood turned to ash. The terrifying sword intent wrapped around me, as though in the next instant I would be ground to powder. Lin Zhan, this ancient Jew immortal sword array may be incomplete, but killing one divine transformation, latest stage cultivator, like you is more than enough. If you kneel down now and kowtow in apology, I can still leave your corpse whole. Otherwise, today, your body and soul will both be destroyed. Standing at the center of the array, I laughed out loud. Yi Bing Huang. Back then, if not for me risking life and death to enter the depths of Hongmeng Forest and bring back the divine transformation immortal herb, you never would have reached divine transformation at all. Unexpectedly, not only did Yi Binghuang show not the slightest trace of shame, her eyes darkened with gloom. Lin Zhan, I never begged you to go. You went of your own will. I threw my head back and laughed wildly. Ha ha ha. Wow, you can say something that's shameless with a straight face. Fine, then. Don't blame me for what comes next. Swords. Come. With that shout, the Zhu Immortal Sword array instantly collapsed, and the boundless sword intent dissipated into nothing. The 10,000 flying swords all turned in unison and aimed at their original owners. Everyone was stunned, frozen on the spot, and unable to react. Then, YSCD, from the depths of their souls, they all felt a shuddering terror. The shadow of death descended in an instant. Go, at my command. The 10,000 swords shot out in an instant. The whole of Junlan Sword Sect turned into a purgatory. Screams rang without end. Severed limbs and arms filled the air, and blood gushed everywhere. In only a few breaths, every disciple of Junlan Sword Sect, except for little junior brother and little junior sister, who were protected by Master, had all 4 limbs severed. The entire sect was drowned in wails, a sight too miserable to bear. I stood in the sky like an ancient god or demon, my gaze cold and completely devoid of emotion. Little junior sister screamed in grief. Second senior brother, you're a devil! You raised your butcher's blade against your own fellow disciples. You're the sects. Shame. The shame of the righteous path. I looked at little junior sister with mockery, my eyes full of disappointment. Gee, Chu, they were the ones who wanted me dead. See how kind I am. I only chopped off their limbs. The 10,000 disciples of the sect, howling all over the place, stared at me like they wanted to eat me alive. Lin Zhan, today I will grind your bones to ash. Without any hesitation, Yi Binghuang crushed the message jade in her hand. Of course, I knew what she was doing. The reason Junlan Sword Sect had become one of the top sects on the continent was because it had 3 Tribulation Realm Supreme Elders. That was the strongest foundation of the entire sect. Those 3 Supreme Elders had all been in life or death, closed-door cultivation, unable to sense the outside world at all. This message jade contained a fragment of their soul imprints. Once crushed, they would awaken instantly. Please, Supreme Elders, come forth from seclusion. Fear filled Yi Binghuang's heart as she bowed toward the back mountain. The Supreme Elders had been in seclusion for decades. Rumor said that unless the sect itself was at the brink of destruction, no one was allowed to summon them. And yet, today, simply to punish a mere disciple, the entire sect had nearly been destroyed. At that thought, Yi Binghuang felt regret for the first time. The disciples, after all, were cultivators. Though all 4 limbs had been severed, the bleeding had already stopped. Enduring terrible pain, they sprawled on the ground and cried out loudly, Please, Supreme Elders, come forth from seclusion. In an instant, the weather across 1,000 li changed. Dark clouds covered the sky. Thunder rolled. The entire southern region immediately sensed the terrifying pressure and heavenly signs. Countless people looked up. Such a powerful aura. Is someone crossing tribulation? Or have multiple Tribulation realm experts emerged at once? That direction is Junlan Sword Sect. Something huge must have happened. Hurry, we're almost there. Countless cultivators rushed toward Junlan Sword Sect. At this moment, the 3 Supreme Elders descended together, bringing with them the power of heaven and earth itself. Their terrifying pressure made it hard to breathe. Everyone in Junlan Sword Sect looked at me as though I were already dead. In their eyes, with 3 Supreme Elders taking action, I, Lin Zhan, was doomed without question. When Yi Binghuang saw the 3 Supreme Elders appear, she finally let out a huge breath of relief. Disciple Yi Binghuang greets the 3 Supreme Elders. This vile disciple Lin Zhan has fallen into the demonic path, harmed fellow disciples, and betrayed his master and sect. I beg the Supreme Elders to suppress this vile disciple. The three elders all thought they'd heard wrong. What sort of disciple could possibly require them to personally act? Their expressions instantly turned extremely ugly. Yi Binghuang saw their darkened faces and hurriedly explained. Supreme Elders, Lin Zhan has clearly entered the demonic path. Not only did he injure me, betray his master, and cripple the whole sect's disciples, he has already reached late divine transformation. Please, Supreme Elders, seek justice for us. The 10,000 disciples all cried out again, begging in unison. Please, Supreme Elders, seek justice for us. The white-robed Supreme Elder with the highest cultivation looked at the miserable condition of the 10,000 disciples and stepped forward with an icy gaze. Vile thing! Were all these disciples crippled by your hand alone? I glanced at him indifferently. That's right. His voice carried supreme authority. Vile thing! At your age, reaching late divine transformation makes you the first genius in all ages. But you entered the demonic path, betrayed your master and ancestors, and harmed your fellow disciples. Do you really think no one in this world can punish you? I stood in the void, completely unafraid, my long hair moving without wind. When one wants to accuse, any excuse will do. Still, refusing to repent, the white-robed Supreme Elder flew into a rage and struck like thunder. The surrounding spiritual energy instantly exploded, and endless heavenly lightning struck down. Countless bolts condensed in his right hand. A Tribulation realm cultivator had already begun to grasp the might of heaven and earth. He slammed one palm toward me. That strike blazed brilliantly, containing a terrifying force as though it could destroy heaven and earth. I had no doubt that if that palm struck a mountain, the mountain would collapse. I answered with a palm strike of my own, plain and simple, without the slightest visible fluctuation. Boom! The two palms collided, erupting in dazzling light. Countless cultivators who had come to watch were blown away by the shockwave, sent tumbling through the air. The aftermath continued spreading outward. Mountains crumbled, and forests were destroyed in its wake, and I didn't give up even a single inch. The whole audience was utterly dumbstruck. How is this possible? Countless observing cultivators were stunned on the spot. Then, the whole crowd burst into uproar. My God, who exactly is this young man? He can actually stand evenly against the late Tribulation Supreme Elder of Junlan Sword Sect. He doesn't even look 20 years old, and he already has such cultivation. To call him the greatest genius of all time wouldn't be excessive. This is terrifying. Hess, Junlan Sword Sect's second disciple, Lin Zhan. Just 2 days ago I heard that he ambushed the sect's eldest disciple and stole a treasure, and now the whole sect is after him. How is that possible? A Lin Zhan with heaven-reaching cultivation like this would need to ambush a disciple for treasure. Can anyone seriously believe such an obvious frame-up? It's as ridiculous as a nation's emperor lowering himself to fight a child over candy. Complete nonsense. Exactly. Junlan Sword Sect really is a bunch of idiots. They're actually trying to kill the greatest genius of all ages. A top sect. More like a sect whose fate has already run out. Among the spectators were many people from other sects, and those sects had long been suppressed by Junlan Sword Sect. Now, seeing 10,000 disciples of Junlan Sword Sect all crippled, they felt an indescribable sense of satisfaction. They had no intention of speaking cautiously. All of them came from major powers. Did Junlan Sword Sect think it could make enemies of everyone? Naturally, the people of Junlan Sword Sect heard them, and their faces turned extremely ugly, though Yi Binghuang had some regret now. She knew things had already reached the point of no return. There was no room left for reconciliation. Vile disciple, surrender at once! Supreme Elders, come with me and kill this vile disciple! The other two elders exchanged glances. When dealing with someone of the demonic path, there is no need to speak of fairness. Exactly so. And just like that, 3 Tribulation realm experts and 1 divine transformation expert all charged toward me together. I cursed in disdain. So damn shameless. Zhao Xuan's eyes were full of smugness and even a trace of pity. Lin Zhan. Lin Zhan. So what if your talent is peerless, and you're the greatest genius of all ages, with 4 supreme experts attacking? You're dead, for sure, today. The protagonist. This is exactly what happens to a vicious male side character. Little junior sister's face twisted with a kind of sick frenzy. Second, senior brother, you dared cripple one of little junior brother's legs. Today, you'll definitely die with no burial place. The surrounding cultivators watching were all stunned, one after another. They cursed Junlan Sword Sect for shamelessness. The sect master and supreme elders were actually joining forces to besiege one junior. Truly laughable. Waves of mockery came from the crowd as the 3 Tribulation realm experts moved. They even drew down Tribulation. Lightning, countless bolts carrying world-destroying force crashed toward me. 10,000 swords swirled around my body, their radiant sword light like a rainbow piercing the sun. The rampant sword chi and heavenly lightning collided violently. Boom! 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 Sword light that seemed to rip open the void, and unmatched lightning ravaged in all directions. The forests and mountains around us exploded apart. Splinters flew. The earth cracked. Mountains split. Even facing 4 absolute experts at once, I still didn't fall behind. In only a short while, we had already exchanged more than 100 moves. So this is all the sect's foundation amounts to. I smiled disdainfully. My terrifying aura kept climbing higher and higher. The truth was that if I wanted, I could have casually slapped all 4 of them to death. But how boring would that be? Playing with them slowly was much more interesting. A cat toying with mice. Nothing more. And with Zhao Xuan being this world's protagonist, I refused to believe he had no hidden cards left. As the battle dragged on, the 3 supreme elders of Junlan Sword Sect, who had thought they could defeat me easily, were all cursing in their hearts. A genius like this, if he had fallen under any sect in the world, would have been that sect's greatest fortune. What in the world had Yi Binghuang been doing to actually push such a genius into rebellion? After fighting me for long enough, they had naturally realized that not a single trace of demonic aura existed on my body. I was clearly not one of the demonic cultivators they claimed me to be, but matters had already gone too far. There was no way to make peace now. Enemy, not friend. They had to kill me with everything they had, or the future trouble would be endless. Otherwise, if I escaped, the tiger would return to the mountain, and the consequences would be catastrophic. The observing cultivators from outside had also figured out that Junlan Sword Sect was now riding a tiger they couldn't dismount from, and they mocked them without restraint. Quite a few powers even tried to recruit me on the spot, promising the highest treatment. Some even saying they were willing to hand over the sect master position to me. The white-robed supreme elder turned and roared at Yi Binghuang. Making you sect master is truly the sect's great misfortune. Look at the catastrophe you've caused. Yi Binghuang's face turned red and green with shame and rage, yet she didn't dare talk back. Ever since she had taken the sect master's seat, everywhere she went, all she had ever heard were words of praise. She was the sect master of one of the continent's top sects, and now she was being publicly humiliated like this. Grinding her silver teeth, she could only pour all her anger onto me. With the frost ice holy sword in hand, she slashed toward me. Vile disciple, I want you dead. I stood in the air, the corner of my lips curling into a sneer. Big chest, empty brain, completely overestimating yourself. Yi Binghuang was so furious, her lungs nearly exploded. She rushed at me without a care for anything else. I merely raised 2 fingers and effortlessly clamped her killing sword between them. Yi Binghuang's face changed dramatically. She clenched her teeth and pushed all the spiritual power in her body to its limit. Yet the sword couldn't move forward, even the smallest fraction. With my other hand, I seized her pale neck. Yi Binghuang was horrified out of her mind. The shadow of death wrapped around her heart. Supreme Elders, save me. The 3 Supreme Elders all cursed her as useless. Originally, the 3 of them had thought that by combining their sword momentum, they could at least heavily injure me, if not kill me. But Yi Binghuang had been too brainless. A mere divine transformation had rushed right in front of me. Wasn't that just courting death? Not only had she broken the sword momentum they had painstakingly built up, she had also thrown herself into mortal danger. They wanted to save her, but there was no time. Yi Binghuang's eyes were full of terror. Oh, you can't kill me. Your master. You can't treat me like this. My gaze was icy, my voice even colder. Oh, really? Then, why didn't you believe me when I said I didn't kill eldest senior brother? At this point, Yi Binghuang truly was afraid, her face full of terror, endless regret flooding her heart. Crying, she begged me, I believe you. Master was wrong. Master was really wrong. I beg you. Beast, how dare you? Stop! The three supreme elders once again charged at me with the full force of heaven and earth. With a thought, a flying sword shot out and severed all four of Yi Binghuang's limbs in an instant. She was completely crippled. I loosened my hand around her throat and she plummeted toward the ground. Yi Binghuang's scream was sharp and miserable. Her eyes were full of madness, regret, and despair. A truly complicated look. Boom! She smashed a human-shaped crater into the earth, kicking up a cloud of dust. Little junior sister ran over crying and gathered Yi Binghuang into her arms. Then she looked up at me and spat out the most vicious curse she could. Lin Zhan, you devil! How could you be so cruel to master? You're going to die horribly. You'll be sent to the 18 levels of hell. The other disciples also poured out curses in all directions. Right after that, I erupted into a world-shaking battle against the three supreme elders. Rocks shot through the air. The void ripped apart. Heaven and earth were on the verge of collapse. If the supreme elders hadn't activated the ancient protective formation before the battle, the entire sect would have long since been reduced to ashes. The watching cultivators had to retreat farther and farther, only daring to observe from the very edges, not daring to step beyond the line. In the end, I barely defeated the three supreme elders. The three of them sprawled on the ground, coughing blood in huge mouthfuls, utterly drained of battle strength, horror filling their eyes. I stood bathed in blood, like a demon god towering between heaven and earth. Everyone's eyes were full of shock. A young cultivator, not even 20 years old, had heavily wounded three supreme elders at the Tribulation realm. They couldn't imagine such a thing at all. None of it felt real. Three old great names of the Tribulation realm, defeated by one youth, vomiting blood and on the verge of death. No one present could believe what they were seeing. Yet this was the truth right before their eyes. A peerless young powerhouse had risen after today's battle. Lin Zhan was destined to become famous across the continent. They had personally witnessed the birth of a miracle. Everyone in Junlan Sword Sect had stopped thinking entirely. From afar, many of the spectators watching sighed and shook their heads. What a pity. This greatest genius of all ages is probably going to fall today. They could tell I was already exhausted to the limit. At this moment, my aura was melting away like ice and snow. My life force draining rapidly. At last, I let out a large mouthful of blood and tumbled from the sky. Just then, a sudden change occurred. Countless bizarre demonic runes suddenly appeared across Junlan Sword Sect. Terrifying demonic chi surged up and wrapped around the entire sect. Everyone's attention was instantly drawn to those strange runes. One giant demonic pillar after another rose abruptly from within the formation. Sinister demonic script spiraled and revolved around the pillars. The next second, a horrifying scene unfolded. The disciples with severed limbs discovered in terror that their cultivation and blood essence were all being rapidly drawn toward the demonic pillars. The white-robed supreme elder cried out in a trembling voice. Even his own cultivation was dropping at a terrifying speed. The blood demon, Immortal, refining array, Yi Binghuang, still lying on the ground, stared at me with blood-red eyes. Lin Zhan, you really are a demon. I hate you so much. I should have split you in half with one sword back then. The eyes of all the other disciples were full of hatred too, like they wanted nothing more than to drink my blood and eat my flesh. Little junior sister's eyes were full of venom. Lin Zhan, you devil, you'll die horribly. You'll go to hell. I struggled upright and looked at them as if they were idiots. At a point like this, all of you are still this stupid to fall to this state. None of you are innocent. Yi Binghuang gritted her teeth until blood nearly came out. Demon! And you're still trying to argue. Even if I become a ghost, I won't let you go. At that very moment, Zhao Xuan stood up completely unharmed. His severed limb had regrown, and demonic runes covered his body. Lin John, you've really surprised me. To think you would destroy the whole sect by yourself. If you hadn't gone to all the trouble of crippling them for me, I probably would have had to wait several more years before making my move. Thank you, second senior brother, for helping me hold them off. Only then was I able to lay down this blood demon immortal refining array. As expected of a male side character, all your efforts and all your sacrifices were destined to become a wedding dress for me. At that moment, a large group of demons surged out of the demonic pillars. At the front stood one man and one woman, both clearly at the Tribulation realm. The moment they saw Zhao Xuan, they dropped to their knees in worship. Your subordinates greet the young master. So, as expected, Zhao Xuan, this so-called protagonist, had never been as simple as he looked. Not only was he the most beloved little junior brother of one of the top sects on the continent, he was also the young master of the demon race. If I hadn't appeared, he really might have become the ruler of this entire world. At this moment, every single person in Junlan Sword Sect was dumbfounded. How could they ever have imagined that the little junior brother they had treasured and doted on so much was actually the young master of the demon race? They simply couldn't accept it. Impossible. How could it be like this? So, second senior brother really was framed. Zhao Xuan killed eldest senior brother and pinned it on him. We all wronged second senior brother. Little junior sister's mind had gone completely blank, and she kept muttering over and over, Zhao Xuan is the demon. Impossible. This is impossible. She started to lose her mind. Zhao Xuan, you're going to die horribly. How could you lie to me? You vile disciple. How could it be you? Zhao Xuan looked at them with nothing but mockery in his eyes. A whole bunch of idiots. I just lied a few times, and every last one of you believed me. What a bunch of morons. A top sect. Hilarious. Yibing Huang's eyes were full of regret and despair. It was her favoritism that had plunged the entire sect into eternal doom. Zhao Xuan was the one I brought back. To think this vile creature played me in the palm of his hand. I hate this. Ha ha. Karma. Truly, no wonder I ended up like this. Yi Bing Huang, am the sinner of the sect. The white-robed elder coughed up several more mouthfuls of blood. He stared at Yi Bing Huang in utter disappointment. Yeah, Bing Huang, look at the catastrophe you've caused. A sect with 1,000-year legacy. Destroyed in your hands today. You are a sinner for all ages. At this moment, everyone in the sect regretted it so deeply. Their intestines had gone green. Originally, with 3 Tribulation Supreme Elders present, there was no need to fear these demons at all. But now, all of them had fallen into despair. The sect had reached the edge of destruction. Its annihilation was only moments away. The 100,000 cultivators watching the battle retreated even farther. The strongest among them was only at divine transformation. None of them dared intervene. If they rashly rushed into the array to save anyone, they'd only end up being refined too. Not to mention the 2 Tribulation Realm demon leaders standing within the formation. What a pity. 1,000-year sect is about to be refined just like this. What is there to pity? The truly immeasurable loss for the human race is that a heaven-defying genius like Lin John is about to fall. Junlan Sword Sect brought this on itself. A bunch of blind and empty-hearted fools. They deserve exactly this ending. Many of them were already sending people back to their own sects to report the news, urging their Tribulation Realm powerhouses to come out of seclusion to prepare in case the demon race launched a full invasion. A good number of sects reached alliance agreements right then and there, preparing to resist the demon race together. At this moment, within the blood demon immortal refining array, one disciple after another had their dantians explode, and endless spiritual power surged wildly toward Zhao Xuan. Little junior sister was no exception. Her dantian burst open in a bloody hole, her cultivation completely gone. She had become a cripple. With great difficulty, she crawled toward me. The scenes of how I had treated her well in the past surfaced one by one in her mind. Her eyes were blurred with tears, filled with endless regret. Second, senior brother, sorry. It's all my fault. If you hadn't taken me up the mountain back then, I would have died long ago. And yet I repaid kindness with enmity and treated you like this. At this point, even the Dantians of the three supreme elders had all burst apart, their terrifying spiritual power completely leaking away. It's over. The sect is completely over now. Each of them had faces ashen with despair, aging instantly before everyone's eyes. I looked at the sea of screams within the formation, the entire place like a mortal purgatory, and felt not the slightest pity. They had all brought this upon themselves. In contrast, Zhao Xuan's aura was rising higher and higher, as if there were no bottleneck at all. He broke through one realm after another: Nascent, Soul, Divine, Transformation, Tribulation, Realm, straight toward Tribulation, Great Perfection. Zhao Xuan's eyes were full of smug madness. Ha ha, Lin Zhan, you're next. So what if you're at the Tribulation realm? This blood demon immortal refining array is an ancient formation. You still won't escape being refined by me. Looks like his final trump card was only this much. If I kept pretending any longer, he'd really think he was all that. Oh, really? Under his disbelieving gaze, I slowly stood up, without the slightest trace of weakness left on me. Let's see if your ancient formation can withstand one sword from me. I casually picked up a sword and slashed once, before everyone's disbelieving eyes. The ancient formation shattered with a thunderous crash. Zhao Xuan's eye split with fury. No! Sword, chi, stretched 30,000 miles, and the heavenly gate opened wide across the whole continent. Countless cultivators looked up into the heavens, staring blankly at the sight before them. That one sword did not belong to the mortal world. Countless people prostrated themselves, tears filling their eyes. This is an immortal miracle. To witness an immortal miracle today, I could die without regrets. For thousands of years, no one has ascended into the immortal realm, and countless powerhouses have stopped at Tribulation. To witness an immortal miracle today is fortune from 3 lifetimes. The spectators were so excited, they practically danced in place. No one has broken into the immortal realm in thousands of years. Lin Zhan actually became an immortal. What the hell is happening in this world? This is insane. Being able to witness this scene today is enough for me to brag for the rest of my life. Write down today's battle in the family records, so my descendants know that I once personally witnessed the birth of an immortal. Everyone in Junlan Sword Sect had gone utterly blank as they stared at what was happening before them. Zhao Xuan screamed like head gone mad. Impossible. How could you become an immortal? The protagonist of this world. Quick, kill him. Hurry. You don't come any closer. I walked slowly toward him. The demons around him exploded into clouds of blood before they could even approach me. Zhao Xuan was completely dumbfounded. He didn't even have the courage to attack me anymore. By the time I reached him, he dropped to his knees without a shred of dignity. Second, senior brother, I was wrong. Please, let me go. We're both transmigrators. We should help each other. You're the protagonist, and I'm just the vicious male side character. From now on, just treat me like a dog. Second, senior brother, let's talk this out. I was wrong. I smashed his head straight into the ground with one punch. Fuck! The thing I hate most in this life is two-faced bitch. You slandered me. You little piece of shit. I pounded down with punch after punch. The earth caved in, and I literally beat his head into an explosion. The entire sect stared at me blankly. The second senior brother they had all done everything possible to destroy was actually an immortal. But how had they treated me? No matter how much they regretted it, now it was already too late. Yi Bing Huang sprawled on the ground, kowtowing over and over, humble to the extreme. Immortal, exalt. Please, save the sect. Save us. We know. We were wrong. We wronged you. We were only confused for a moment. Zhao Xuan deceived us. Countless disciples all knelt and begged. Immortal, exalt. Please, save us. Whoever brings disaster upon themselves cannot be allowed to live. Fuck, what a bunch of dogs and white-eyed wolves. They still have the nerve to beg me. Truly shameless. You can spend the rest of your lives living in hell. I didn't spare them another glance and disappeared on the spot. The sect was ruined, and everyone had become crippled. For them, that was far more painful than death. These people had always held themselves high and mighty, and no doubt they had offended countless others before. Now that they had no cultivation and were crippled on top of that, wouldn't they just be prey for anyone who wanted to carve them up? Karma really is swift. They were destined to live forever under the humiliation of others and the endless torment of their own regret. But what the hell did any of that have to do with me? Ding! Congratulations, host, for completing the mission to kill the Child of Destiny. You have advanced to the Great Luol Golden Immortal Realm. Next, mission choice. Choice 1. Ascend to the Immortal World and win over Fairy Change. Choice 2. Return to Blue Star and win over the heroine Lu Ruyan.